Does that make sense? They're like, oh yeah, this is cool.
Yeah,
You know?
that's my husband.
They're just listening to the teacher. Oh yeah. So they need to be challenged in thinking and decoding and going through puzzle solving and same thing, like let's give them their spelling words all scrambled up. Oh, that's good for them. Let's make them hunt through this box to find all their spelling and vocabulary words. That's good for them. But our guys, they're already there. They're like way beyond, they're like doing so much puzzle solving already. We need to bring them back. We need to rein in that whole that thought process. So all these things that are good for, like, let's say 80% of the kids, they're like exactly doing it's just exactly the opposite of what our guys need. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I have a question about homework.
It's like somebody who's drowning, and what do? You throw them a bucket of water, Here, drink this. What?
Well, I was just curious.
Speaking of water, I'm thirsty.
Speaking of, Bonnie, she's only been going to school 1 week for kindergarten, right?
Uh-huh.
And all the stuff that she used to do for fun, now it's called homework. I mean, she hardly even knows what that word means. And last night she's saying, I hate homework. She says, well, how do you know? We've only been going to school a week. Who told you that? So.
I still have one of my friends' daughter's real smart. Is like she didn't like to do it because she knows how to do it too.
Yeah.
What she did was send her daughter to another friend's house and we do homework together. And so that's another solution. Yeah, more fun. Encourage her to do it.
She's doing it right now with the
Yeah,
other
because
kids.
with other kids.
Looks like she's having fun too.
Yeah. So that's in kindergarten it's not that intense. So.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I think maybe she heard it on cartoons or something.
Yeah,
Kids hate homework.
On TV. They're supposed to hate it or something. But now she's having a good time here doing the same thing she didn't want to do before.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you weed out what the problem is? I mean, what kind of questions do you ask? Do you have a
The big three, the big three questions, and with different age children, it's going to be you're going to have to word it differently. It's going to be they're going to express it differently, but 99% of the times it comes out to one. Okay? Do I have the resources to be successful? Oops. 2, do I have the time to be successful? And 3,
Have I eaten anything?
That's under resources, right?
is it important to me? Is it important to me, to my life, to my goals? Okay? And if he doesn't recognize in some fashion.
So do kids of 5 and 6, they have, you have to find out what's important to them? Besides ice cream and cartoons?
Well, no. And this is that scale that that I gave the other day. So here's the age of the child, right?
Yeah.
Here's 0, and here's let's say 14, because after that you're dead. I mean, after that you got all kinds of other stuff going. They're independent. So that's 0 to 14, birth to 14, and here is your percentage of influence over the child. Okay? So here's 0, and here's 100%. Okay? Does this make sense so far? Okay. So as the child goes from 0 to 7 to 14 years old, they're going to be less and less influenced by the parent. Does that make sense? So it starts out when they're born, you have basically 90% influence. I think there's still 10% that is like whatever. They are who they are. But you're about, let's say you get about 90%. And that drops off to something like that. Till you get, I don't know, whatever, 20% by the parents. And then outside influence starts out like, you know, their friends, their family, whatever it is, starts out down here. And of course, when they go to school, right? Whoa! Does that make sense? So this is friends outside. And this is mom and dad. So the younger they are, the more of who they are, the more of what they want comes from you. How many kids 5 years old don't want to do whatever their dad does for a living? Right? I mean, when I know Alex is Avery, he's always been a little more independent, but he follows me more in trait, like as an inventor, as an independent kind of, you know, outside the box thinker who tends to start more projects than he finishes. Okay? But Alex, you know, when his dad was a graphic artist, he wanted to be a graphic artist. When he turned to something else, he was going to be something else. When he became a chef, he wanted to be a chef. And that was only like 2 or 3 years ago or something that his dad went to cooking school and became a chef. And it was like now, I mean, he's like so into cooking and he's going to take the culinary arts program and everything. So it's normal for kids to want to be like their parents. The earlier you can work with them and get the parents, wow, that's awesome. Show me what you did on your homework. See, what you're saying is that's important. You express to them in so many words, or not by words, but by behavior, really. They don't pay attention to your words. By your behavior, they know what's important. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So even in the Learning Center, it's your behavior that is really gonna influence your clients. You know, it's your state of mind, your breathing. If you're not relaxed and focused, if you're like, if you're all uptight, you know, the kid's gonna be up. He's not gonna relax. But you know, I mean, it's funny. I shouldn't even say this, but I mean, I've actually come close to falling asleep sometimes when I'm working with kids. It's like, you know, because I'm really putting myself into that relaxed state, you know, and if you combine that with a little bit of a sugar crash, it's like next thing you know, I'm like, okay, now what was I saying? So I don't know that I've actually fallen asleep, but I swear that I've come really close. Like, but you want to do that. See, that's gonna, especially if you take the time to match them. So you match their breathing. So when they come in, you know, you're a little bit excited. You know, most kids when they see me, you know, I'm a little bit excited. You've seen me do it, right? You've seen me do it a couple times now, and we're like, bum bum bum, and we're throwing balls and and then after a couple of minutes, I'm starting to bring it down, and it's like, okay, let's sit down now. Let's get a picture. Boom, ba boom, ba boom, and my shoulders are starting to drop, breathing more from the belly. Yeah. Okay, let me see if I can see that. I do a lot of looking up to the right. Now that's because I'm mirroring them, right? I'm mirroring them. I want them to look up to the left. So you know, I look up here, and I put my hand up here, so that they tend to follow me. I say, so imagine, so I be what I want them to be, what I see them as doing next. I be that myself. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And that's what parents can do. So that's why, you know, very often 20% or more of the program is working with parents. and I don't want to talk about people behind their back, but since you guys were here, you know, if Dee believes that she's tried everything and nothing's going to work and she has to run the show and control everything, and that if she lets go, her kid's just going to fall on his face, man, it's going to be a hard road. And I'm really struggling with how I'm going to be able to support her when, you know, he's kind of done being led around by the nose. So it's going to be a tough road for her to get him to even try some of this stuff. I think it's going to be tough for her as a parent to just let him be with whatever he wants at 14. And you know what? It doesn't mean you necessarily approve of it, but how can you allow him to be his person, but still set the standards that are reasonable and appropriate? It's a tough balance. But I think it all starts with listening. It all starts with getting the child's perspective. Because their kids, like, I mean, you know, his goal was to be, you know, maybe a fireman. Like, and not that being a fireman is bad. It's actually pretty complicated. But it was just like he was just gonna be whatever his dad was. You know, he was just gonna pick something like because he thought it was easy. You know, that his understanding of what a fireman does was like, you know, you just, you know, you go through the wall and you spray the fire with water. That's it. You know. Now, you know, the last time I saw Spencer, he was playing the guitar. He's got, you know, I don't know how many friends. He goes on play dates. He's talking about going to college and what college he wants to go to and what career he wants to have now. I mean, it's like, boom, you know, remember the little pond, big pond. I mean, very cool stuff. So
taking those things, 1, 2, 3, with a really young child, like 5 or 6, the resources would also include if they are tired.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
So we know they're smart. We know they had enough time. Usually what's important to us is important to them. So.
But do they know they have enough time? See, whatever age, they're going to have a map of you know, how much time they're willing to put forth to this learning stuff, and how much time they're willing, or work, or whatever it is, and how much time is they need to go play with their friends, or time could be, you know, really given their rhythms.
You know, my daughter
are
always
they capable of focusing for more than 40 minutes or 20 minutes? That could be the time limit. Does that make sense?
My daughter always asks, she's like, well, is it still morning? Is it time for lunch yet?
Yes!
Is she worried she doesn't have enough time? Or
is she worried she doesn't have enough time?
Why is she always asking that?
Mine always ask what time is it, and I'm like.
Well, I didn't know you were going there. Where I thought you were going was, does she have even a sense of time? And the answer is probably not. They don't understand what's a minute, what's an hour, how many hours are in a day. You know, there's really like today, there's yesterday, and tomorrow. And anything that's not today or anything that is in the past is yesterday. It doesn't matter whether it was a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. It was yesterday. And anything that hasn't happened yet is tomorrow. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what the, you know, so if you say, so let's see.
Yeah, she says everything.
We knew you guys were coming up here. Hey, Lise? She's busy. I'm trying to think, it must have been like it must have been Wednesday or Thursday.
What?
When did we tell Emily that she was going to get to play with her little friend? Was it Wednesday?
I think it was just the night before.
Was it the night before?
I think so.
Okay. And in like that time span between the time we told her and the time Friday afternoon, she must have asked, How many times? Are we going to see my friend yet? Are we going to see my friend
yeah,
yet?
because she woke up in the morning and it's like she was ready to go and she got upset because you were leaving to go down there before we were.
Yeah.
Because it didn't start till.
Because it didn't start till 4, but I was coming down here at like, 10. So she was upset because, wait a minute, I'm going to see my friend. Are we going to see my friend? How many times did she ask then after I left?
Oh, I don't know, a lot.
100?
After she stopped crying. Probably
Yeah.
a lot.
So when they're ready to go do something, they're ready. It's like, okay, now let's go. What's the holdup? What is this time thing? I don't know.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. No concept of time, and that's developmentally normal. Okay, for
So
someone
she doesn't-
my age to have no sense of time, puts me in that 20%.
So really when you say, okay, well, we'll just spend 10 minutes on homework and then you can watch TV for a half hour, she really doesn't understand that at all. Really.
Probably not. Probably not.
My son always asks what time it is. He's just fascinated. What time is it? What time is it? And I don't really
Yeah, because
tell him.
the answer's different every time.
Well, I don't tell him that. I just say next we're going to do this. And that way he knows what he's doing next after next after next. He's kind of got that.
Fact.
But he always asks me, what time is it? What time is it? I'm like, it doesn't matter if we're going to do this. Because he's just a
Emily.
She used to do that all the
Emily,
time.
what
She
time
always
is it?
And he
asked
has
me
no
what time
idea.
was- And now she
It's
gave
2 o'clock.
up. And now she just says, is it afternoon?
What time is it, Emily? 2 o'clock. And how old are you?
Yep.
Got it. It's always 2 o'clock.
Cute. 3 o'clock.
So
So
it's better to say we're gonna
Long hours.
like color this page and then you can do that, something like that.
Say that again. Say that again.
Tell them, okay, well, like color this page, or let's do, one line, and then you can do that. Just say what they're gonna do instead of saying we're gonna work on this for 10 minutes.
Yeah, because come on, you're an NLP. What is work?
Yeah.
What is work?
Negative.
No, no, I didn't ask for judgment. What is the word work? Come on, Kathy, I want you to do some work.
Work. Well,
What did I just ask you to do?
I see a whole bunch of pictures, all different kinds of stuff. Of work.
Yeah. Okay, I want you to do some work. What does that mean to you?
That's what most kids say. They see
But-
parents
but-
doing that.
But you understand, it's a total nominalization.
It's the opposite.
Does everybody understand what that means? It means it doesn't mean anything. You can't say, can you give me if I say, give me 3 work. What does that mean?
They don't know.
It doesn't mean anything. It's like homework. What is homework? Homework it's a nominalization. It's a generalization. It's a noun that means absolutely nothing except for this vague general description, this category of an infinite number of possibilities that could fit into this category called work or homework. So I would stay away from those. We don't do homework. In fact, I need to have this conversation with Lisa. Okay? We need to stop doing homework. What we're going to do is we're going to sit down, and when we come home from school, okay, we're going to have a snack. We're going to take a break. See, can I take a snack for 5 minutes? Can I is that like, you know exactly pretty much what I mean? Like if I tell you the ingredients, it's like a cracker and milk, okay, or a sandwich and milk, right? You know, and we're gonna do it one snack, right? So we identify exactly what the snack. The break, we identify the activity. It's going to be go outside, get your wiggles out, and go on your skateboard or ride a bike or something like that. Okay? Then we're not going to do homework. We're going to come back and do 2 minutes of our exercises. We're going to do cross crawls. We're going to do focusing, or we're going to do juggling and focusing. Does everybody know exactly what I mean by that? Do you know exactly what I mean when I say work? You have no idea what I mean. So neither does the kids. Okay, if you say work, we're going to work for 5 minutes and then go watch TV. Do they know what TV is? Yeah. Does that mean something to them? Does work mean something other than conjuring up all kinds of pictures? No. So where's their focus? Their focus is on TV, not in the task. No. So what you just said before was, we are going to spend 5 minutes on spelling. We're going to spend 10 minutes on reading. We're going to spend 2 minutes on speed math. We're going to spend 20 minutes or 15 minutes on our math worksheet. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to review. We're going to spend 3 minutes to review our spelling words. Do you see how I can quantify exactly what those things are, and I know it, and they know exactly. Once you've done it twice, then you know. You know exactly what you're going to do for spelling. You're going to see the word, you're going to make a picture, and spell it forwards and backwards. And then you're going to read and maybe pull out some new vocabulary words. And then you're going to do speed math with the cards or dice for 2 minutes. And then you're going to do your math worksheets for 10 minutes. He understands all that. See, so I can say this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this. And they know exactly what I'm talking about. There's no question.
Okay, so for her, we can make a list and like a little picture, like color and letters and then.
Who are we talking about again?
Bonnie.
Oh, yeah.
You say good news. We're not going to do homework anymore. We're just going to trace these.
Yeah, we don't.
Makes it sound more fun.
No, we're not going to do homework. We're going to do. We're just going to work on our spelling, because that's important. See, we're gonna do 10 minutes of reading together, you and mommy, because that's important, and we're gonna do a couple of minutes of math, because that's important, and maybe we'll even play some math games, because that's fun. We'll do some speed math. Show mommy how smart you are. Boom, boom, boom. With making tens out of dice. 6 and 4, 5 and 5, 3, 4 and 3. Yeah, that's very cool. That's fun. I'll do that.
Sounds like fun even for us, huh? Yeah.
Good questions. Good stuff.
So when kids are little, they don't care anymore whether they write with left or right-handed anymore, right?
It depends. Some of them will fight you vehemently. Some of them will go back and forth, and they'll still fight you
vehemently.
vehemently.
Writing with their left hand. That's not gonna cause a problem with the teacher, is it?
It should. I don't ever. I let the kids do whatever they.
Yeah,
Let them
messing with
establish
somebody's
their
dominant
own.
hand.
Sometimes they're
That's nonsense. I mean,
that's
do that
just
anymore.
silly. They should let them figure that out on their own.
this whole Catholic school, you can only write with your right hand.
I think that's crazy.
Left is evil or something like
They'll figure
that.
it out, or they'll use both.
Well, I was brought up in Catholic school, so you'd have to do that.
There's some neat people.
See, and then
all with
my
both
dad was brought up in
hands.
Catholic school,
So-
and then so he taught me to, like a normal left-hand person, they will slant their paper this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right-handed paper slant their paper this way. Well, in order to get away with it, we slant our paper this way. So I slant my paper just like a right-handed person when I write. Yes. So good question. This lives with the younger the child is, the more that lives with the parents. And the more they are responsible for understanding what the child is capable of with their rhythms. And but yeah, let's stay away from nominalizations.
I have one more question.
It's like school. School could be an awesome, horrible word for a child.
She
But
does
we're gonna go learn stuff.
She does her letters and her numbers both ways. Like she flips her letters.
Totally
That will go
developmentally
away.
normal.
That will just go away once she gets the hang of it. I shouldn't.
If I didn't know
shouldn't
her
give
mother
her
and
a
her
hard time.
grandmother, I would say probably. But because I know you guys are both high-strung, visual, boom, 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 I'm going to say probably not.
But I don't know if you've noticed, she also hasn't decided if she's going to use her right or her left hand.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah. Because for some things she uses she's right dominant, and other things she's left dominant.
So does that make sense? I know I said that kind of facetiously, but it's very developmentally normal for a child to be ambidextrous when they're young, to flip their letters when they're young. It's by itself, it doesn't really mean anything. But if I know that there's either ADD or autism or just high visual thinkers in a lot of engineers or doctors or attorneys in the family, then there's a really good chance.
So I should start correcting her, because usually I'll just say good job no matter what, because I want her to feel proud of herself. Do you think it's time that I start correcting
Do
her?
your letters like you taught.
Not on paper. It's too conceptual. Help her build her letters out of clay. Give her the experience of making that letter, because the way she will know that this is a B and this is a D is not the way it looks. Okay? Because thankfully she is in one of the group of gifted children that can think outside the box, and she can see the things in her world lots of different ways, and she's going to be a great puzzle solver and a great thinker, maybe an inventor, artist, musician, whatever. So the way she's going to learn that these two are different is the way they feel. And the gut feeling and the tactile feeling are pretty closely tied together. They kind of go together as the way we experience things. So when she looks at a word, if she feels that this is the way the word spells, B-A-D, then that's going to feel right. If that feels yucky, then maybe she'll change it to D-A-D. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. But it's going to be in the visual spatial realm that she will get that feeling, remember the word, where can I put it? Synesthesia. That's the ticket. That is the ticket. And she will feel that this is the right way and this is the incorrect way, or correct and incorrect. This one gives me the result I want. This one doesn't give me the result that I want. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Huge, huge, huge. So, and our little girl, she was flipping her letters. Well, she's not here today. Not Emily, the older one, Courtney. She was flipping her numbers, and she's still struggling with some aspects of math. There's a lack of reality there between the numbers and what they really mean, and there is still, I think, some transposition of understanding things from left to right or right to left that she's still weak on. So we're going to be working on that with her now that she's moved up into the next grade. But she was flipping all her numbers. She would write them all backwards. She just made them out of clay a couple times, and it disappeared, like gone forever. Does that make sense? So there wasn't any need to make a big deal out of it. It was just the way she experiences the flow of the world, the free form, outside the box kind of thing. Good question. Very good. Anything else? So this is really awesome. So more of this. Hope that shows up. So more of this is going to come from the parents. It's going to be an understanding. It's going to be unconscious. And as the child gets older, it's going to be something that you can ask them more. By the time they're 8 or 9, you can start to tease out, so what do you need to get this done? And you see them, okay, something's wrong there, show me what you need. Tell me what you need to get that project done. I don't always say, do you have the resources? Do you have the time? How much time is that going to take? Forever. You know? Okay. See? Because this is not about reality. That's the other thing. This is not about what like everything else that we're dealing with. Remember that first chart. This is not about some objective reality. It's about their perception. So because they feel they don't have enough time, does not mean they don't have enough time. But it still means you have to deal with it. And simply saying, well, that's crazy, of course you have enough time. Nah, that's probably not going to cut it. Because it's not satisfying the intention. Why do they feel they don't have enough time? Because his dad promised them that they were going out for candy or ice cream or something if he got his homework done in time. Right? So he's panicking now. He hasn't even started his homework and he's already panicking that he's not going to have it done in time. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I mean, the truth is, this course could probably go on for a month. I mean, it really could. There's so many subtleties, especially looking at the parents and what's happening at home. And I mean, you're going to have a really kind of leg up because you're used to seeing things from different perspectives and how their kids are being influenced and whatnot. But I think any parent is going to have also an advantage because you can see. Okay, I can stand in the mom's shoes. I can see that she's frustrated because of this. So if she's frustrated, what's the child feeling? Frustrated. He's frustrated too. Or angry or upset or he's resigned himself or struggling to survive or find his identity or whatever's going on there. So Good. So, it's 12 o'clock, so let's take a break. Let's take our lunch break. Is that whole 45-minute thing good enough for everybody to grab something and... Yeah?
What's that?
And then we'll start jumping into the specific issues.
What time are the kids coming?
They're going to be here at 2 o'clock.
As a baby, you can kind of figure out in your mind, like, they fall asleep and they wake up in a different place, and that must be weird, I mean, you start thinking about all that stuff, like, what's weird for baby, and then when they get a little older, you stop trying to see things through their eyes, and you're like, what are you so upset about? You have nothing to worry about, and it's just amazing to know what goes on in their brain, those poor kids.
But there are also some parents that will put things that aren't there, really. I mean, for example, there's this one boy who, because he was now like 12, he's a teenager now. So mom was reading all these books about teenagers. And so she decided, and he had to be somewhere late at night and be ready for bed. She's like, well, he can't ride across town in his pajamas. He'd be mortified. Because, according to the books, that's how a teenager would feel. And maybe a girl might, But anyway, this was a boy that, to try and get him to put his clothes on, do you know what I mean? He'd go to the store, go to the movies and has been doing this. So to ride across town just in the car with his mom, do you know what I mean? For him, it wouldn't be a big deal. So it's also important to look at your child, do you know what I mean? And see what applies. And a lot of times, like, we may feel something, like we might be mortified to ride across town in our pajamas, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily true for them. So it's really important to honor your child too and not put things on them that
we might talk about, I think we might, that's a really good one, and I don't know where else I might have mentioned it, but putting adult interpretations on children is probably one of the biggest mistakes that parents make. Children learn to imitate. They imitate what we say. They imitate how we act. I mean, I'm already scared of what our little 2-year-old can imitate, you know.
No, ask me if I'll do you a favor. She'll already ask you to
me if I'll do
rephrase
you a
things
favor.
to ask me if I'll do you a favor.
Reframing it too.
So because they can imitate us and talk like us and sometimes act like us, we think it's really natural and normal to presume that they have a certain level of understanding, and they really don't. I mean, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, they're clueless. They really are. They do not have any understanding of the world. They don't understand really. They kind of have a basic understanding of cause and effect and right and wrong, but they just. I'm just continually amazed at how much they really don't understand, and especially 7, 8, 9-year-olds. They're still looking at the world as through almost like a fairy tale, like what's real, what's Santa Claus, and what's the Easter Bunny, and how do they fit, and I mean, all that stuff is right there up until 9 years old, and then after that, the brain changes, and you see kind of it's. Well, maybe we should talk about that too. The death of childhood, the 9-year change. A lot of your clients will go through that, and it can be really traumatic for some kids. There's the fairies are gone. The trees don't talk to you anymore. Instead of having this quiet, imaginative space that they live in, now their brain is constantly thinking and churning up thoughts and thinking of problems, and I mean that's a big change. That's huge, and like I said, depending upon a lot of factors, some kids make that transition fairly well, especially with the right support. And other kids, they'll really struggle with that change, and it's tough to take for a while. Fortunately, they forget about it and they become adults and start thinking like us. So, so anyway, on that note, go have a good lunch.